Hey guys, and welcome back to Pikmin 3. In the last day, we saved Charlie from the bowels of a giant bat, and in this one, we're going to try to find out where Captain Olimar actually went to, since we found a data file that has a signal that leads to a new location. I really do like that Brittany actually legitimately thought that he turned into the bat.
And good, Charlie's a narcissist.
Charlie's it's funny because he's not actually treated well. Alf looks up to him because, you also notice that ever since we got Charlie, by the way, there's a rubber ducky flying around.
Yeah.
Charlie constantly talks about how that thing has saved his life and, like, how many missions he uses it for. So it turns out that it's just like, I guess it's like its good luck charm. He doesn't go anywhere without it.
It's like a security blanket.
Yeah, I guess.
And it does keep the others awake at night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it didn't have like a goofy name in Pikmin 2.
It's like some horror thing, or maybe that was just the rubber duck head on its own.
Yeah.
And the other one was a work of art.
So, Charlie actually tends to be the butt monkey in these conversations. Brittany has absolutely zero faith in him whatsoever, but Alf looks up to him and he's just like, no, he's a really cool ranger guy.
He has a whole range of failures.
Remember the time he tried to block bullets with a rubber ducky and it didn't work?
I noticed that go here command tip shows up constantly. It's like the game is begging you to use go here.
Yeah.
And you never do.
I used it a few times. In fact, I'm actually gonna use it in this one. So, Alf actually did in fact crash land on this section, the Tropical Wilds. Now, the Tropical Wilds, I believe this is basically supposed to be summer.
Yeah, they're doing the same seasonal thing.
Yeah, you can even hear the cicadas. And we have another cameo from our original troupe. At least Olimar and Louie. So, the Tropical Wilds, I don't hate it, but I'll probably go and say that it's probably my least favorite area because there's a lot to clear. Like this Hermit Crawdad, for example, I suggest killing it as soon as you can because we're gonna have to start building bridges.
Naturally. And kill that thing because it's a devil.
Yeah, the Whip-tongue Bulborbs, we actually saw them in the distant tundra, but I took care of them as soon as I could. I also lucked out with that charge because if you looked at its mouth, it was already chewing on some of my Pikmin. You haven't gotten to see it because I keep killing it before it does, but its long tongue is basically going to scoop up a bunch of Pikmin and just eat them.
It's nightmarish.
I throw some Pikmin up there so that way I can have a little bit of a setup. It's really not like a speedrun strat or anything, it's just like, oh, well, this just saves like 5 seconds. So we're gonna throw Brittany and Charlie over here, because there is a wall, and as well as we have to start on building bridge pieces. The Tropical Wilds, I said it already, but like, I don't hate it. It's just, there's just too much to clear. The way I like playing Pikmin, I like to do as much as I possibly can in one day. And sometimes I feel like, okay, that's fair, we don't want the player to be able to just snap the game in two. But sometimes it comes off as like, well, now I have to spend extra days just because the first day was spent, like, doing arbitrary stuff.
It doesn't help that that particular visualization of the bridge, there were bridges before, but you didn't actually see them being built necessarily, it was just a cloud of dust. It feels like it looking like that was one of the big visual innovations of this game, and they just kind of hammer it into the ground.
Yeah. Like I said, I like the building bridge thing, But it really does get annoying when, like, the Pikmin all collectively go back there. See, like, the flower one just stands there as if there's anything left, but there's no reason for it to come back now. On one hand, I get it, but it also makes me think, okay, if the Pikmin can just walk back on their own when it comes to, like, building bridges, then why aren't they smart enough to just run back to the base, you know?
That would probably be annoying in its own way.
Yeah. Another reason why I want Charlie to be there, not only because I need to clear the stump, but because I want to grab that data file. And that's the game warning me again about how the Pikmin can't cross anywhere. We actually saw that in day 3, but that was from one of my other attempts. So the reason why I actually threw Charlie there was because I want to show off the data files. And the thing is, when you throw a leader on top of a data file, they'll just collect the data file and they won't actually read it. It'll just appear in your Explorer's Notes, which is cool, but I actually want to show this one, because it's from Captain Olimar. So if you thought the president was cool in the last game...
Who?
He's on vacation right now, while Olimar and Louie are working.
If you thought the president was cool, I'm sorry?
I'll take Louie any day. So, yeah, that's why I just throw the 10 Pikmin up there. It's literally just like a quality of life thing.
I assume from the position down below the ledge, there's no real way you could throw the Pikmin up there and then tell them to charge into the bag and they would push it, like you would have to be behind it.
Yeah, you have to be behind it, unfortunately. But there are actually some of the other bags where you can absolutely do that. Trick the game into, like, messing with its own mechanics. There are some things that, like, when I demonstrated, it kind of just seems like a developer oversight, like they just didn't really think about it. And going up here, we actually have our second suit upgrade. Even though it honestly looks like, it doesn't look like much. You might as well just strap some pots and pans together and call it a suit of armor,
Yeah.
But whatever.
It's armor if your enemies are very generous.
Now that I have that out of the way, and we have the bridge cleared and the bag pushed, what I want to focus on is essentially dividing our team into two. Part of the reason why I don't favor Tropical Wilds all that much, despite how pretty it looks, is mainly because there's just a lot to clear. Like, that was just bridge 1 of many. And on top of that, I want to make sure that I clear what our goal for this day is. Because our goal right now is, I'm actually going to take care of it right now. We are trying to find the signal for where Captain Olimar went off to. Here I'm trying to divide it just enough to where one character has above 50. He ended up with 55, but I thought it was fine.
It's above 50.
Yeah, it's about 50, but I wanted it to just be 50 even to make sure that I had just enough for the Alf and Brittany team. But before we could get started, that suit of armor got there.
I like that every time they get a message, they jump like they weren't expecting it.
I also like that it just surprises them every single time. Like, oh, a notification from the Drake. I would imagine by like the 5th time or so, they're just like, it's the Drake. Part of our awesome instructions, like when we got the electrical suit, there are no instructions. Now, when we take hits, we take less damage. Not that it was a problem, but thanks anyway.
And it's automatically equipped to you.
Yep, automatically. Just like when we got the electricity suit, like, we're already immune to electricity. So, part of the reason why I want Charlie specifically to have above 50 is because, well, we gotta get that flip phone.
It would only have a signal if there were still satellites. Presumably.
That is true. Maybe it's just really good Bluetooth.
Tooth, you say?
My apologies, blue teeth.
Our apologies, pink lips.
I think smartphones can handle that, the next generation.
I think my favorite fact about Bluetooth is it's named after a Viking who was named that because he was obsessed with blueberries.
That's interesting, I didn't know that. So, the sand-belching Moldslug here.
What a name.
Yeah, believe it or not, this is actually not a difficult fight. If you saw that I was already charging for its mouth, when it starts inhaling from the sand, what you want to do is position yourself just right, so that way when you command the charge, it eats, in quotes, some of the Pikmin, but it's just gonna forcibly shoot it out of there, and then you can just attack him again. Also, when it spouts itself out, the Pikmin automatically grab onto it when they stand back up because of how big he is. So, this fight actually isn't all too hard. It also starts spitting out rocks, but it has very terrible aim. And you know what? While that's going on, I'm gonna have Alf and Brittany just sort of take a nice walk on the tropical wilds. Look at some of the palette posies. It's a nice lake.
Then Charlie calls and says, "What the hell am I doing?"
So, we call back and we grab all the Pikmin again.
He says halfway through the fight.
Yeah, he's just like, why do I feel why do I feel like Yoshi's ignoring me? So, while some of the Pikmin get devoured and the Moldslug gets shot out again, the Pikmin are going to keep attacking. But let's go back to Alf and Brittany, since he can handle himself just fine. That's a really nice peach. Unfortunately, I can't get it. I do like that they're talking about how refreshing it is, while this man is currently like, Mayday, Mayday!
Pure cartoon comedy.
Yeah, the reason why I keep switching is because you have plenty of time to gather your Pikmin and you pretty much get a lot of leeway to switch back. Of course, you do eventually have to switch back to Charlie if you're gonna do it the way I did. Because if you leave him alone, the Pikmin will start to die.
Ah, ferrets!
Yeah, we got some cute little ferrets on our flip phone here.
I kind of like that the watermelon it spits up breaks into pieces, because I feel like if it was whole, it would take far more Pikmin than you have.
Yeah. we don't have purples this time. So even though I'm currently playing with Charlie, I had Alf and Brittany throw their Pikmin into the little sandhole. And, the little sandhill. Even though he's miles away from that, he was like, ah yes, I just had my Pikmin discover the fact that I just found bomb rocks.
Oh yes, my brain works from a distance.
Why do you think we have these antennas in our helmets?
He looks to the others. Why do we?
This is basically the main reason why I wanted to have at least above 50. Because the watermelon breaks into pieces, I want to gather, and because this is an all fruits run, I want to gather all the fruits we can possibly get. So, you need, I believe, at least 50. I got a little lucky with having 55. I was also lucky that none of my Pikmin died during that fight.
Yeah.
Because if I even lost one, this entire day would have needed a complete reset. And I'm not kidding about that, because by the time I'd run back there, throw one Pikmin to grab whatever I needed, I'd be out of time.
What the hell are those things?
So, these little grubbies, I don't know actually what to call them, but they're extremely annoying they tend to grab onto fruits. So when your Pikmin are pulling them and they all like decide to dogpile on it, it actually slows them down and the Pikmin aren't able to like actually pull them because it gets too heavy.
Yeah, you could actually see the counter on the bottom increasing.
Yeah, so it's really annoying. So when you see them, try to attack them. You don't have to kill them because they tend to scatter. They're a little annoying to find, but it's best to attack them when you can. I started collecting the bridge pieces, but I saw the Pikmin going in a direction where I know there's plenty of enemies, so I stopped them because I want to blow up this wall. Unfortunately, I lost a rock Pikmin, but that's okay.
Well, he was like the only one who dropped the bomb and then didn't run back.
Yeah, I was trying to whistle him back, but I think because of how, like, round he was, he couldn't, like, actually maneuver away from the rocks.
That's sad. He can be crushed, but he can't be blown up.
Yeah. The rock Pikmin, they can be stabbed, they can be stepped on, and they won't die, but they can still absolutely be exploded. Part of the reason why I split the party was so that I can gather as much as I can. Getting this bridge done, getting the Pikmin to spit out all the other bridge pieces, and gather those grapes right there. There was also a stone wall right where we our landing site was. Breaking that open is usually advised in order for you to get all the watermelons. Because we've been working on the bridges for a while, but they haven't started on the watermelons because of how heavy they are.
Just the Drake screaming, "Hurry up!"
We're trying! So, as cute as the photo of the ferrets are, it just reminds me, oh yeah, there are no more ferrets in Pikmin.
Well, maybe there are. Maybe that's what the worm was evolved from. Ferrets like to hide.
I love that quote from Charlie. This thing can fold? That's incredible!
So can I, crack.
You think if he ever saw somebody fold a shirt, he'd lose his mind? The stone wall, like I mentioned around here, if that was broken open, they would have had a much easier time to get there. But, and I tried multiple attempts, because of me trying to get the stone wall around here, where the bridge is currently being built so I can get those grapes, those are the only, like, bomb rocks you can get in time, because there is another anthill where you can bury out more bomb rocks, but by the time you do that and you get back, if you're trying to do everything like me, where as in get the watermelon, get the bridges done, and get all the fruits, you're gonna have to sacrifice something because there just literally is not enough time in the day to do it. And I tried multiple times. I did that boss fight a number of times and it just wasn't enough.
What do you think would be more fun to play? Smaller levels with less to do, but more levels, or larger levels with more to do, but there's just less of them?
Hard to say, because for me, like, it feels really satisfying when I accomplished a lot in a day. And I don't know how Hey Pikmin plays, but I feel like that's what they did. Where it's like actual levels, where it's like cut in like small tiny parts. Here we can actually see the little, I'm just gonna go with grubbies since that's what I went with. The little grubbies are crawling around here. I was trying to make sure they weren't gonna hop on any of my grapes, because that would have irritated me. I also went ahead and followed them because I didn't want them to walk all the way back there and start sitting around doing nothing. I only have 4 seconds and I'm missing 2, so I'm just like, oh, come on, come on. Oh, they were behind the wall. There they are.
And the grubbies are joining.
Yeah,
Get out of our way. Get out of our way.
Well, they're dragging the rock with them. I can't get them, I guess. And, well, that takes care of day 5.
Is this the first day where you didn't lose any Pikmin overnight?
I believe so. Because I didn't lose any Pikmin in day 2. I think I lost them like 1 or 2 in day 3, and I definitely lost some in day 4. But here, I didn't lose anybody. Not in a boss fight, not anywhere. So, yeah, to answer your question, I like it when it's kind of like this, when there's a lot for me to do, because gathering all these fruits and upgrades and clearing all that much an amount of time, it's fun because you have the timer. I feel like Pikmin can't be Pikmin without the timer.
Mm-hmm.
Despite my gripes of like, I didn't want to come back here for another in-game day. But at the same time, I do like that I only have a limited amount of time to do something. Because if you can accomplish that much in a short amount of time, it's more fun for me and engaging. It's kind of like I'm speedrunning in my own way. Because there's no wrong way to play Pikmin. There's absolutely nothing wrong with taking more days than you need in order to, like, beat this game. Because again, if we're just going by how much juice I have right now, 22. I have 22 days to do whatever I want. 23 now. Well, 24 now. Like, it doesn't really matter. And it doesn't really matter, like, how you play Pikmin. That's that's another thing that kind of appeals to me, is that I can just do as much as I want in a day.
Sure. I'm saying, would it be better to have that same situation in smaller levels, like relatively smaller, or in these really big ones?
Maybe. I see benefits to both, but I think I would probably enjoy either one.
I feel like there is a benefit to where in Pikmin 2, the caves you could do entirely in one day because the time stopped. So you could completely clear that out, and the overworld was the only thing really affected by the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell how long the days are in this game relative to the previous two. Something about it feels more lenient, though.
I feel like it's generous enough. I always felt my estimate for how long these days are at 12-15 minutes max. And you are given enough time to do whatever you want, for the most part. But if you're anything like me, where you're just trying to clear as much as you can, then, again, I'm my own stress problem. It's just a me thing. But really, if you play it like whatever, like, if you spent your day just blowing up walls and just building up bridges and, you know, you go to that boss fight and then you don't have enough time to finish the boss, then it's totally acceptable for you to, like, just recoup your losses and go home. That doesn't really reflect bad on your playstyle or anything, because there is no wrong way to play. The only wrong way there is if you just somehow lose all your days.
Or if you just walk up to the Whip-Tongue Bulborb and stand there.
Yeah, or you just, like, lead a charge of 100 Pikmin into a lake and you just kind of stare at them.
Dead-faced.
That would be, like, probably the only wrong way I could think of, because if, for you guys, like, if you want to just, like, raise a bunch of Pikmin and just throw them at enemies and, you know, have them die in the process, but you still, like, got your items and stuff, you could totally play it like that.
That's kind of what I did a couple of times.
I know my first playthroughs looked a lot like that for each game.
Because when you fought the worm and you said, this actually isn't a hard fight, I was thinking, well, I'm glad it wasn't for you. It took me, like, the entire day, I think.
Yeah, it was just more of like, I didn't really think about it until I tried it. Like, what if I just attack the slug while it's in the dirt? In the sand, because naturally you're going to think, oh, it's just going to devour them like a vacuum, but it only chews on some of them, and then once its chin is closed, the rest of the Pikmin will actually bail out the other Pikmin, and it'll shoot out.
Yeah, I guess it's worth knowing the damage threshold. It's like the Snagrit in the last games, where it would bite your Pikmin and chew on them, but if you did enough damage, then it would retreat. It's a point of knowing how much damage you have to do before it does that, at which point your Pikmin are safe.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for a monster that actually comes to where the ship is and just snips all the Pikmin in the ground by the bulb.
God, that would be amazing, but also it would be a giant middle finger to people who are like waiting for their Pikmin to be flowers before they get them.
You would hope it would only show up in the final level of the game.
Yeah. Or that, or like a Bulborb that just fires like missiles out of its back. Like, oh, okay. Thanks, Miyamoto. Thanks.
Not like the cannon goldfish in Pikmin 2, a regular Bulborb.
Just a regular Bulborb. It'll just start walking around, and then its little spots glow a little bit, and then you just hear, and then you're just like, all right, okay. All right, evolution, do whatever you want.
Or just a Bulborb with a giant-ass laser that it charges in its mouth.
It's a Bulborb, but then, like, when it's in its sitting position, it's totally normal. And then when it goes to stand, its legs retract, and then rocket thrusters come out, and it's a flying Bulborb, and it just dives right towards you.
Bulborb with rockets that just flies at your Pikmin, driving along the ground so fast you can't avoid it. That would be both horrifying and hilarious.
Yeah, I'd be like, you know what? I'm not even mad. It's incredibly stupid, but that's why I like it.
And the only way you could really beat it is to know ahead of time.
Yeah.
And bop it in the eyeballs.
I mean, we did see those mechanical creatures in Pikmin 2, which still have no explanation, so.
Yeah. We don't even really see anything like that in this game.
No. I hope they come back, though, because that to me was really interesting. Oh, you know, just here in this nice Pikmin planet, there's just a little ball that grows legs, and it just has a Gatling gun for no reason.
It does feel like the logical next step for evolution, in a lot of ways, is integrating with machinery.
Yeah. They could do that for Pikmin 4. Could elaborate a little more on that. Since apparently one of the reasons why Pikmin 3 took so long to make was because the writer was off writing another game. And I guess they can't do it without him? I guess he's like, hey guys, don't mess with my OCs, alright? I'll let you know canonically what Louie's about. In Pikmin 4, I'm gonna have him eat a black hole. It'll be funny. Just watch.
Then you'll know for sure he's controlling the final boss.
He is the final boss.